All right. Another week and more suffering, I guess, guys. So, got another more 7-star stuff. We got a 7-star Zeta, but instead of upgrading the old one, they just made it a new one. It's kind of sad, actually, but you know, is what it is. Just gotta roll the punches. So, we're gonna go through the normal cycle of stuff. Look at the new welfare. Take a look at the event shop. Check out the gacha. Then Twitter videos, and we'll finish off on alterations. So, yeah, I guess let's get cracking on that. They really do need to dial it back on the 7 stars, though. That's just too much power creep. Way too much power creep. Okay, so gray coin, the G3 Gundam, and let's take a peek-see. Hey, Dark Edge, what's up, man? Head-mounted Vulcan. Okay, so head's a write-off for the EX skill. Yeah, it's like every week, right? They're throwing effectively at minimum like 7-8 parts that people want to alternate to actually, you know, get the advantages, and it's just resources are plummeting now. But it's like a rat race, man. Just don't do it. It's not worth. All right. Anyways, stat-wise, what do we got? So about 1,000 melee attack or so, which for a welfare head's not bad. And 2,800-ish shot. That's on the lower end for newer shot heads post the Super Sokais. So stat wise, it's okay. It's not in a amazing spot, but it's not in a bad spot. It's kind of in the middle. The EX skill though is a complete wash, and then we had the Federation and Gundam type tags. Federation is kind of a, you know, obviously you can put on melee or shot for the boost. It does activate a few nice traits, but not a lot of them. Gundam type is a little more flexible in that regard, where it does activate a lot of really nice traits, but at the same time, you know, it's a shot tag primarily. So, but you know what? They're both flexible tertiary tags, so it's got a healthy selection on that front. Neat combo. Overall, it's an okay head. It's nothing terribly amazing. Torso, with technique attribute, revive with 30% armor one time. No. I still stand by if you run out of HP. That's pretty much it. Like, you really just should try the map again if you're dying. You shouldn't need guts or revives. Yeah. Numerically, okay, so we're looking at about 1150, 1200 or so melee and shot. That's not terribly bad when you take into consideration that post Super Sokai we typically see things at about 11, 12, 1300. The really good ones are past that, you know, 14, 1500 for torso offensive stats. So this sits pretty healthily, kind of, again, much like the head, in the median, you know, kind of sitting there nicely. I will say, though, it's nice seeing that the primary chunk of its stats is in the defensive pool instead of the offensive pool. So this will scale really well with marks. And then the same word tag selection as the head. Nothing... like, so far this is a very tame suit. The stats aren't really amazing, the traits, EX skills aren't really amazing, but we have a lot of suit to still look at. So, alright, arms. When armor is 60% or more, melee damage output boosted by 20. That's a flat number boost, that's practically worthless. Let's just take a look at the numbers. Okay, so we're looking at about 2,900 melee attack. And then we're looking at about 1,200 or so shot. Again, like post Super Sokai, these stats are really mediocre. Maybe even arguably on the low end. Federation and mid-range, so we get rid of Gundam type and get mid-range instead. I would say Gundam type has more uses than mid-range does, but all right, you know, another source in mid-range, sure, I'll take it. Yeah. Overall, like, it's there. I'm just, it just feels bland looking at this. All right, the legs against a large enemy, EX skill power boost by 25%. All right, now we're actually getting somewhere. We're getting an EX skill power boost, but it does only work against large enemies. That's really not giving you a lot to work with, but you know, it's an EX skill power boost. The very limited applications for this. Federation 4 base tags. I don't like the 4 line of tags. I say this at least once every week because of the videos. Yeah, I don't know if they should have kept Gundam type or mid-range, but either are better than this. Numerically, we're looking at, it's pretty much the torso all over again. We're looking at about 1200 melee, same with shot. I will remind you though that the legs and backpack are typically the lowest offensively statted parts of a frame, so seeing them break 1,000 is always nice. But again, post Super Sokai, this is very, like, okay. You know, that's pretty much it. Just okay. Yeah, like, it's fine that it's a starter suit from one of the games. I do really like the box for it as well, I will say. The banner image that we have for this week's event is actually a throw to the actual box art for this Gunpla. Looks really nice, but yeah, I'm kind of weirded out that they'd go, hey, this is your starting suit from a very iconic Breaker game. We're going to make it so mediocre. If this was before the Super Sokai, like, stat boosts, this would have been pretty good. But does this trait trigger on 1/100s or big MMs? Like, okay, that's a really good question, actually. So with the big modifiers, I don't believe that counts as a large enemy. And I can almost be certain that this doesn't work on multi-mission bosses because they're not classified as large for whatever godforsaken reason. But feel free to correct me if I'm wrong on that one. I'm just pretty sure that this only works against the larger, like, story bosses and stuff and battle circuit. Okay. Yeah, so stats, tags, trait, they're there, you know. Yeah, I know that they have the Urgent Battle Zeta banner. I actually brought that up right at the beginning, so is what it is. It just never ends with 7 stars. We're like, what, 9 weeks in now or something? Alright, backpack. Double Saber Rush. B+ power, low cooldown. The animation on this is like the rest of this suit, meh. Like, it's not that great. No, it's okay, Kuro. I can't expect you to drop everything and come running, dude. Just letting you know I'm well aware of it. Yeah. On the part of the 9-part bingo, I wouldn't actually go for bingo. As I've mentioned in the past, I typically only ever go for bingo when there's 5 parts or less, because that way you actually get excess back. So, yeah. 3 new alterations for welfares. You can see the bottle. Yeah, let me see if I can. Yeah. So this bottle right here in the background, I'm going to be grabbing that when I do the alterations. It's practically a fresh bottle of very good whiskey, and I'm looking forward to enjoying that and drowning my sorrows at the fact that they can't stop doing this week after week. All right. Oh, you're funny. I thought they released the Bale 4-star and up to 7. That's a good one. That's a good joke there, buddy. Good that's a knee slapper almost. Are you having trouble with the assistant again?
Don't start, so I set the timer and then it just says 3 minutes and then just sits there and goes 3 minutes.
Do you need me to set timers for you? Like, can you not?
No, I think it's bugged. I'm gonna restart it. It's probably from the power outage.
Fair point. Fair point.
If you want to set a timer and watch it just tell you 3 minutes.
What? Do you want me to set a timer for 3 minutes?
No, I already shut it off.
Okay. Whatever, dude.
It's the good old clock.
This year they'll be releasing a new Gundam anime called Gundam the Witch from Mercury. Do you know anything about this? No, actually. I saw some people discussing the announcement for it. I haven't really had time to look into it. I've just been kind of busy. A lot of my more recent free time has been taken up with the daily streams that I've been doing. Yeah, and by the way, if you're not watching those, I highly recommend you do join in for those. It's just hang out, play some games, chat. I've been doing a run through of Artanelico. I did a couple days of playing Scarlet Nexus because I bought it and it was really fun. And I'm back to Artanelico again. So yeah, if you want to just hang out, chat, shoot the shit about games or whatever, just yeah. So far it's every night from 9 p.m. to probably 11 p.m. or so, maybe midnight, depending on my mood. Still kind of getting a feel for the timing and everything for the daily streams. So if you want to kind of influence when the streams are, I do recommend joining my Discord. I have a poll up there, not really a poll, but I have kind of a reaction-based thing right now where people kind of say what works best for them. So anyways, back to what we were doing. Storm, no, I'm not streaming Xenothreat. I don't know if I can stream and play the game at the same time. All right. Anyways, G3 Gundam. Backpack. So the Double Saber Rush, like I said, the animation on that's not really great. Like on paper, it looks like a good skill, but in practice, it's just, you know, it's such a high chance to whiff the actual animation. It's not really worth. Federation 4 base tags. I've already talked about this combo. And statistically, it's pretty much the same as the legs. Okay. Nothing to write home about, but not bad. Alright. Beam Sword. While mid-range, EX skill cooldown reduced by 15%. So we do have quite a few really good sources of mid-range. And you get a 15% cooldown reduction. It's obviously not as high as our 4-star and ups 20% cooldown reduction, and definitely not as high as our newer 7 stars 23% reduction, but 15% is still a very healthy number, especially if you lack anything better that can go into this equipment slot. So yeah, sure. Beam Sword, Beam Javelin, Beam Rapier, whatever it is. It's a beam thing. I'm already like just so checked out from looking at this suit because the stats are like just pre-Super Sokai, really. Even this 3,100. If this was before Super Sokai, but yeah, pretty good. Post Super Sokai, it's okay, sure. Federation mid-range tags again, brings back the nice mid-range instead of 4 base. Be gone. Yeah, no, it's is what it is. Alright, the beam rifle. Charge shot, B plus power, low cooldown. Attach your shield and blast foes with a high energy beam. Cool. Welfare tier stats, Federation mid-range. On paper, this looks like a very solid welfare weapon. The EX skill doesn't sound too bad. Very to the point, low cooldown, B plus power, good stuff. The stats are what you'd expect from a welfare, just over 3k, and it's got an okay set of tertiary tags. All right, so not a complete disappointment, but also so bland and safe that it kind of makes me go, who cares? They're not giving away another welfare last shooting. Frankly, like, they just need to put something interesting on the welfares, like the Zaku with its backpack. That was cool. They need more of that. Alright, the Hyper Bazooka. When armor is 60% or more, very easy to accomplish. Shooting crit rate boosted by 17%. Quite unfortunately, crit rate in this game is just hot garbage. It's not worth investing at all into, so don't do it. Like, okay, don't let me stop you. If you want to do it, go for it. You know, it's your Gunpla. I'm just saying, don't do it. Federation 4 base tags. All right, cool. 4 bases back, unfortunately. I wish it would just go and never come back. And the stats are, again, just basic. Shield, while Federation, shooting damage taken reduced by 20. No. Nah, it's worthless. Federation, Gundam type. Okay, cool. Cool beans. Workable tertiaries yet again. Statistically, okay. So we're looking at about 500 melee, 500 shot, you know, give or take a little bit. It's got solid defensive stats for a welfare shield. Yeah, the shield's okay. Yeah. If the event suits aren't going to be competitive, they could at least be more fun. That's what I like. That's what I love seeing when I look at these welfare suits. It's obviously great if they're really high statted for a welfare suit, because that kind of gives a good incentive to pick it up and perhaps try it out and use it, right? Cool shit. But or right, obviously the really unique EX skills, you know, like a large paralysis field or boosting a stat by a humongous percentile, right? Crazy things like that, making them not perhaps best in slot, but making them something that people may actually go, I could make a good build out of this. I look at something like the G3 and it's like, it's a cosmetic. That's literally all this suit is good for. The EX skills are lackluster. The traits are equally lackluster, honestly, except for the beam javelin. That's the best part of the bunch. Yeah, it's kind of like, all right, the parts are there, they exist in the game, but you know, if you're not going to make the welfares competitive, which is fair, you want people to roll the gacha, you are a gacha game, at least make them in such a way that people that have played this game for a long time have an incentive to pick it up, besides another week, another welfare. You know? Yeah, the G3, you are right. It definitely does feel like something that should have come out before Super Sokai. It would have been really well received back then. But ever since that, it's just the stat requirements for a welfare to be good have just skyrocketed. And yeah. Bland for nostalgia. Ain't that the truth? Alright. And what are our awakening chips? Protag, Xeon, mid-range, 4 space, and 4 computers. Okay. Acceptable grouping. What are our fragments? We have the Musha, and the F92L. So that's the Musha Mark II, and this should just be the Musha. Oh, Super Hagane. Okay. Give me a second here. Let me take a look at them. The Super Hagane version should be the tiny little midget. And this is the Mark II, and that should be, yes. Okay. Aesthetically, I like some of the parts on this suit, but I also don't recall any of it really sticking out today as being like, oh, really, really, really good. You know, kind of a meta pick or anything. Aesthetically, nice pick. And then the Super Hagane version should be the little SD variant, if I remember correctly. And that kind of falls into the same bracket where if you're into the SD samurai aesthetics, it'll tick your boxes. Outside of that, it doesn't really have anything that, you know, revs the engine, so to speak. Because there's just really good stuff available in the 4-star pick ticket pool. Okay. And the F92L type. Again, this is one of those, you're probably going to pick it up for aesthetics, if anything, because it's kind of been obsoleted. Okay. Alright, yeah, we have the Gundam Bale as well as a build project. We have a whole bunch of stuff coming back. Man. Alright, Well, we'll look at the gacha. We'll come back here to take a look at the Bale. And then we'll take a look at the alterations, which do include the Savior, the Age 3, and the Alveron. I'm actually really excited to see what they did to the Savior, because when it released, it was a suit that was red. It says pretty apt description. All right, gotcha. Whenever you're ready to load. Mandai, do you think you could maybe fix this disgusting lag? Alright. So, as always, I'm going to just not look at the stats of the 7-star. I'm going to worry about that in alterations, where I just look at the trait/EX skills as well as the tags. Because honestly, it's just week to week to week. Whatever 7-star just came out is probably the best. Why bother? So I'll look at our Victory 2. Excuse me. The Victory 2 Buster. And then I'll take a look at our pilots. And then we'll roll back over to check out the Bale. Alright. Victory 2 Buster. With speed attribute, initial EX skill charge boosted by 20%. Okay. So, speed attribute is very easy to get. 5 parts of the same attribute. Cool beans. Initial EX skill charge boost. On paper, really good. In practice, really depends on the skills you're using and the general comp you're going with. More often than not, the general cooldown reduction will work better for you. But if you do have some very high initial cooldown skills that you want to use to just finish off the fight instantly, maybe this will do the trick for you. I don't know, I ain't a prophet. 0-second axis drop? Yeah, man, that's the dream. How do you fight back if death just comes to you? Alright, as for stats... Okay, so we're looking at about 5,400 shot attack on this, which is pretty healthy, actually. That's Sokai tier from before Super Sokai, so aces. Melee-wise, it's a little more token. We're looking at about 1,700 or so in the melee attack department. Now, typically, you know, you'd look at that and 1,700 on a head. That's a lot of melee. Sure, except it has 0 armor and 0 physical resist. And as much as, you know, I do swear by the just don't get hit, when you have a head that has a very decent amount of shot attack and a very decent amount of melee attack, but also has actual paper mache armor values, why would you give it melee and then tell it to run into things? It seems like a cruel joke. A very, very cruel joke. Yeah, like, okay, thematically it's on point, but come on, man. Jesus. High firepower Gundam type tags, very powerful tertiary combo. All right. Overall, it's actually a pretty decent head, all things considered, for a standard part. You remember, yeah, this is standard. This isn't limited or anything, so. Torso. Cooldown time up 10% and shooting power boosted by 35%. So if you do somehow have a huge excess of cooldown reduction, enough to kind of offset this 10%, shooting power boosted 35. That's really high. Do keep in mind again, this is a standard suit. We still see Sokai parts come out with a 30% modifier on their offensive buffs. The really good ones obviously have 40%, but 30 and then 35 on the alteration is still the standard. So seeing this, a standard part giving you 35%, that's clean. It is only 5%, but it's 5%. Can really make a difference depending on, you know, what your enemy stats are. The cooldown time up is the only issue you're really going to have with this, so. Oh boy. Anyways, yeah, just offset it and you're fine. Alright, high firepower Gundam type tags again. awesome. Once again, no complaints about that combo. Good tertiary set. As for stats, okay, we're looking at about 1300 or so melee attack on a torso that's not limited. Okay, you're pretty much welfare tier at this point, so, you know, take that in stride. As for shot, we're looking a little healthier. We're looking at about 2300 or so shot attack on there. For torso, that's actually really high. Typically, those are numbers you'd only see on a Sokai part. So, cool beans. And this one does come with defense. Not physical resist, but everything else. Sure. Okay part. The G3 has a variant, the RX-783 Solomon Express G3 White Devil. So I really want to know what their naming department is doing. Just tacking on words. Do they just have like a dartboard and they just like throw stuff at it? And that's how they determine the name? And then they make drawings based off of that or something? I'm just so confused. Alright. Victory 2's... Oh, integrated arm and shield. With that in mind, it means we are going to see some much higher stats than normal because, you know, it's integrated. So just keep that in mind. When armor is 90% or less, boost job gauge by 50% once. I'm not a fan of the job gauge. I say this every time. I really think it could be much better than it currently is. But each person to their own build. This one does require that you take damage, but it does give you an instant 50% boost to your job gauge. There could be some shenanigans with this. However, the fact you have to take damage, kinda, yeah, not my jam. High firepower Gundam type tags, solid tertiaries yet again. As for stats, again, remember this is integrated, so it's going to have much higher stats than normal. We're looking at about 5,600 or so melee attack, which is, you know... I gotta stop yawning. Anyways, 5,600 melee attack is pretty solid. As for shot attack, we're looking at a very, very healthy number here for a pair of arms. We're looking at, that's what, 7? Yeah. So it's about 4,200, 4,300 or so shot attack on the arm shield combo. It's pretty healthy. Pretty healthy. However, do keep in mind using an integrated part does mean you are throwing away an entire trait or EX skill slot on your suit. So make sure you just understand that before committing fully to it. You are able to backslot these without any major repercussions. But these are mostly for stats, more so than for their EX skill or traits. So, yeah. You do you. Statistically, though, it's pretty solid. Alright, legs. Micro Missile Pod. B+ power, D pierce, slow cooldown. Fire missiles. Alright, sure. I don't need a dissertation on how that works. High firepower, long range. I do like that long range tag on there. These are both nice tertiary tags. Long range is not as common as high firepower is, so it is nice to see another source of it. Not saying that we don't have a bunch already, but it's not nearly as common as like high firepower Gundam type, so cool beans. As for offensive values, we're looking at what? About 1,000 melee attack or so, and then we're looking at about 2,400 or so shot attack, somewhere in that ballpark range. Again, backpack and legs tend to be the lowest statted parts of the main frame, so that much offensive stats, hell man, that's pretty good. That's pretty friggin' good. Comes with a decent EX skill, good stats, alright. Backpack, alright. Yeah, this got to be your cutscene, right? Assault and Buster, A+ Pierce, C power. You better hope that your alteration salvages that. Raise shot attack of your squad by 39%. Excellent in everything but its power ranking. Alright. High firepower, long range again. Cool beans. As for stats, we're looking at about 1,000 melee attack again, much like the legs, but from a different stat distribution. And then as for shot, we're looking at about, that's what, 2,400 or so shot. Again, for our backpack, that's clean. clean stuff. And lastly, the beam rifle. No such thing as too much noodle. I highly doubt that. Like, what surprised me so far with your cooking is like that steak we had. Like, that was a lot of steak. That surprised me. Unless you got something equivalent to that with the noodles, dude, you ain't even gonna have me bat an eye. I'm not even gonna bat an eye. Alright, so multiple launcher, 11 magazine, B power, D pierce. On paper, it sounds friggin' solid. I don't have any complaints about this. It's a standard part too, so anyone that somehow doesn't have a magazine EX skill for their shot suit by now, wait 4 weeks, here you go, an ace's skill. Alright, so overall, the Victory 2 Buster is okay. It does have a couple of parts where the stats are really shining. They come out kind of like Sokai tier, but before Super Sokai. So, you know, really, really nice there. It does have some interesting EX skills, a couple of okay traits. Overall, okay. For a standard suit, it's okay. Now, on to our pilots. I don't know if I would call it trash. It exists. Alright, anyways, Kelly Lasner. When sortying in space, Vernier recovery rate boosted by 20%. I don't like Vernier recovery. I don't like Vernier expansions, or I just don't find it very useful. I do primarily play shot though, so probably best to get an opinion from someone that uses melee machines more often. However, you don't need to be a genius to know that the trigger case for this, sortying in space, makes it really just not that great. You don't have a ton of control over the map that you are running 9 times out of 10, so you gotta cross your fingers and pray you're actually gonna run into a space category map to begin with for this to activate. Is that worth it? God, no. Xeon long-range word tags. Alright, nice tertiaries, flexible enough. They do have some interesting activation cases. I do find it weird, though, that it's kind of conflicting. Xeon is more for melee, long-range for shot. So, just kind of a interesting little thing going on there. He does have a long shooter license as well. His shot attack is pushing up to about, what, 1800 or so, around there. Nothing jaw-dropping, but alright, you know, decent, especially when you remember he is only a 3-star. So, you know, there's that. And lastly, we have Zadiel Zalmfort. That's a name. Infighter job, initial EX skill charge boosted by 20%. I talked about that, so I'm not going to repeat myself. As for stats, okay, we're looking at something much healthier here. So, after carryovers, we're looking at about 3,200 melee attack for a non-build project pilot. It's respectable, very respectable. And then for shot, we have a token, what, 800 or so? Yeah. Infighter job, initial EX skill charge boosted by 20%. No, I don't really have too many complaints about this guy. Word tags are on point, close combat firepower. The trait of the part itself, cool beans. I wish it was more general cooldown than initial, but alright, good enough. He's got that infighter tag for the melee boost on top of his really high natural stats. Solid stuff, Zalmfort. You done good. You done good. You obviously won't be outshining any build project pilots anytime soon, but still, rather respectable, all things considered. Now, with that done and out of the way, let's go take a look at our Twitter video. No! We have one last thing to look at. Although I'm wondering if I should even look at the Bale here, because considering it's a 7-star event suit, I'm going to be looking at the alteration later. I think what I'll do is I will just look at the alteration for it. So no matter what, I'm still looking at the Bale. I just don't see much point doing the pre. Although, no, right, because that suit's also 7-star. Okay, cool. So we did cover all the bases. So, take a look at the Twitter videos, and then we'll go and cry into a pillow as we go over alterations. Okay. Cool. So let's see here. V2 Buster. Should be exactly like the V2. Fired a missile. Who could have foreseen this? I fired more missiles. Who could have foreseen this? And the cutscene. Yeah. Okay, so it's a carbon copy. Nothing to write home about. Alright, and let's take a look at the Zeta. I'm going to assume this falls into the same category where they just copied the EX skills over and called it a day. A magazine EX, cool. Alright. I will say, that was actually decent enough. So before I watch that one, I do want to just look at this one here, the Torso EX. This is nice. It is literally just a quick swing and call it a day. Just whomp, you're done. It has decent range, as you can see on there. It's clipping that guy. That is quite the friggin' distance away there, all things considered. Alright, now let's take a look at its final cutscene. Yeah, okay. Nothing terribly amazing. Alright. You know, after seeing the cinematic style cutscene of the Wing Zero, I was really hoping we'd start seeing more of it more often. But I guess they're really holding out on that one. Okay. Time for suffering. Wait a second. There it is. Why is the bale so low? Wait, that's the technique bale. That's the one, that's not the one we just got, was it? No way. No, the one we just got was power. The bale doesn't have... Oh, no, there it is. I'm blind. Don't mind me. So there's our Zeta. There's our bale. There's our 3 welfares. Okay. Cool. You surrender?
Yeah, there's some recipes that work and there's some that don't.
Are you trashing it?
Well, I'm still gonna eat it because it's a lot of food. It's just not particularly great.
Okay. Yeah. Alright. I'm gonna go grab my alcohol. I'm gonna go grab my food real quick. Yeah, I'm really not surprised. It seemed like it would work though, all things considered.
The problem was noodles bad. How many noodles? I added less noodles than it recommends. Still way too many.
My god, what did
I do? Noodles out and I didn't use all the noodles. Good lord, this looks like mush, not noodles. Yeah, and that's the other thing. The recommendations soak the noodles for 2 hours before cooking with them, turn to the mush.
Well, I don't know what you were expecting from that recommendation.
I don't know. I thought maybe they'd unmushify or something. I don't fucking know. Where did you get this recipe? Google. Why? On a website called ChineseSzechuan.net. I was like, ooh, those are 2 words I know.
Oh my lord.
Why is the noodles all the way down? No, that's fine. And there wasn't nearly enough sauce, so I tripled the sauce and it filled out of the sauce.
I'm spewing this out.
And all I can see, wow! How much like slops, like yeah, go.
It's literally like mystery for like noodles.
Yeah, man, that's well, you know, for next time, don't never do this recipe again. Hey, there's a lot of chicken. Just gotta find
the noodles and the chicken begins. It's all one thing together.
It's still on?
Yeah. Legitimately, what could you make?
Look, some recipes work, some recipes slop.
I don't know what to expect.
I don't know. I don't even know if it's gonna taste right.
Fingers crossed it doesn't kill us.
Does it even taste like anything other than noodle?
Tastes like onions.
Well, it
That's all I can taste. It's just onions.
Well, you know what? Better than I would expect.
Legitimately, it's onions all the way down, dude.
Well, considering onions are only like 5% of the total meal, we've discovered some unlimited onion hack if that's the case.
I don't know what to say, dude.
Maybe we add the whiskey to it.
Don't you fucking dare.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, you know what?
Yeah.
And there's nothing in it. It's healthy.
Good lord. All right. Let's get cracking. God, that stuff's dangerously good. Okay. We'll start off with the Zeta, and we'll move on to the Bale, and then we'll hop over to the Welfares. So, Zeta head. So, for anyone that hasn't seen me do my alteration talks before, I don't look at the stats, as it is a very safe assumption that the stats have unilaterally increased. We have less than 5 examples on record where the numbers drastically change. So, I do recommend before you invest the materials into alternating a part, you just make sure that the stats are turning into what you want, because you're not getting that stuff back. Yeah. So I only look at the word tags, those never change, and I look at the trait EX skill, because that actually changes. Sometimes very drastically. Okay, well, let's get cracking on this. So, Zeta Gundam. While mid-range, EX skill power boost by 35%. Okay. I like this one. So, first trait, your job gauge increase goes down 10%. Like I said earlier, I still don't like the job gauge. I think it could be a lot better than what its current implementation is. So, having a harder time filling it up doesn't really do much for me. To me, that's an empty demerit when you get a 30% shooting power boost. And if you have mid-range as your tertiary tag, you get a 35% EX skill power boost on top of that. Solid stuff. Solid stuff. All right. High firepower mid-range tags on the Zeta. Cool. Workable tertiaries, both of them. Good stuff. Torso. Hyper Beam Saber. So, this was that EX skill that I really liked. That was the quick swing. It's to the point. It's S tier power. Cutscene cooldown. Melee attack boost. Cool. It's not like a crazy high melee attack boost or anything, and it does apply after the attack is landed. But, for what it is, sure. Okay. High firepower pro tag. I'm not so sure how to feel about the pro tag word tag, as this is definitely kitted out towards more being like a shot type suit. At least based on the first part. But what do I know, right? Torso over here with the melee EX.
I know what to do for dinner, right? How's the pulse?
Okay. So far, the head, kitted out towards shot. Torso, kitted out towards melee. The arm here better be towards shot, because, it's got a EX skill for shot on here. That's a magazine at B+ power post-alteration. Solid. High firepower ace exclusive. Alright, sure beans. This is really just kind of like a smorgasbord suit. It's got a little bit of all the things, Legs. Legs. Saber Boomerang. So this is one of those EX skills that we have in spades in this game. And so it's like a half yeet. Because the way that the damage calculations on this are, right? You do your first swing and then you throw the... I don't know if I'd even call this an Outfighter suit, frankly. It's kind of a mix. But anyways, as I was saying, you swing your sword and then you throw it. It splits the damage between those two hits. So it's like a half yeet. You kind of got to land both hits to get the full output of it, which really isn't ideal. So, is what it is. High firepower pro tag again. Alright, backpack. When armor's 80% or more, EX skill power boosted by 40%. I like it. When C power is over 900,000, EX skill power boosted by another 40%. So, full health, at least 900,000 C power. Both of those are pretty easy to accomplish. Bada bing, bada boom. You got yourself 80% EX skill power boost. That's solid. That is a solid backpack of traits right there. Alright. Beam Saber. Crosswave. This one, if I remember correctly, the shockwaves have a okay amount of distance. Nothing like prodigious or whatnot. So, it's okay. You know. Like, it does have a power. It does have a low cooldown. I just don't know if I'd want this personally. I'd rather have a yeet. I'd rather have a good cutscene EX, but, you know, it's okay. Yeah. So you guys understand, because you could probably hear me and my brother talking in the kitchen about this thing, but it's more like a slop now than anything. It was originally like fine rice noodles, kind of like what you'd expect almost, not, I don't know if I'd say the same as what you'd find in pho, because it was a little different than those noodles, but same conceptual type of noodles. I'm not sure the exact type, but very thin rice noodles. And now it's turned into just a mush, effectively. It's purely being eaten for the sake of I am hungry, and it's technically good for you. But, alright, he's terrible at Googling. Bale legs look absolutely broken. We'll get there when we get there. It's a build project suit. Alright, anyways, back to this. Crosswave is okay. I think I would prefer a yeet or a good cutscene. High firepower mid-range, workable tertiaries, cool beans. Alright, the long beam saber with long rifle category equipped, EX skill power boost by 40%. Lots of long rifles in this game now. Sure. While high firepower, 60% chance to not recoil. So that's, you get hit, do you flinch? I don't think it's worth taking a slot for this, but yeah. Thanks, Gold. My brother likes experimenting with stuff, so he'll Google new recipes every now and again. Some of them are winners. Some of them are really, really good. Some of them are, well, they're food, by definition. Alright. So, beam rifle. After 8 seconds pass, reduce cooldown by 50% once. 8 seconds doesn't sound like very long, but when you get to really high-end arena fights and stuff, 8 seconds is a actual eternity. In most content, though, solid enough. Low requirement and a 50% cooldown reduction for new players, absolutely huge. After 15 seconds pass, reduce cooldown by 50% once. So this allows you to literally just like spam shit pretty much. You get your colony drop, you throw it. After 8 seconds, bada bing, it's pretty much off cooldown again. You drop it, you wait, another friggin' 7 seconds, bada bing, you throw it again. Cool. Very staggered spam. I'm okay with that. Alright. Okay, and the rifle, Hyper Mega Launcher. S power, cutscene cooldown, D pierce, 49% shot boost, 20% speed boost. Sure, yeah, I don't really know what to say for this beyond it's kind of what we expect from a high tier Sokai suit at this point. Yeah, it's nice that they've added the bindable tag now on skills so that when when a skill is going to get you freaking face countered. Yeah, all right. Yeah, it's pretty much standard, which is really weird to say, all things considered. The melee version of double reduced cooldown. Oh, yeah. All right, and the shield missile launcher. A- Pierce, B power, 11 magazine. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt a lot. No complaints here. High firepower, ace exclusive. Great tag selection. Honestly, yeah, the Zeta is not a jaw-dropping, amazing suit or anything. But, you know, for what it is, it's pretty decent. I was really hungry. This is hitting the spot, even though it doesn't really taste like anything but onion. Okay. So, now we're going to look at the Gundam Bale, and then we'll go look at our Baltars. Damn. Okay. So, as it is a 7-star suit, I'm not going to be looking at the stats. Here, I'm just purely looking at the EX skill and the word tags, much like I did for the Zeta. Alaya Vinyana, raise your speed by 20%, standard. Raise your melee attack by 59%. That's a really good multiplier. That is the best multiplier we have. Aces. It doesn't affect your entire squad, just yourself, but 59% is huge. And your attacks stun large foes more easily for a set period. Alright, that's just cherry on top. That's a very good Alaya Vinyana. High mobility, force space, workable tertiary tags, definitely more so high mobility than force space. I still don't like the 4-line of tags. It doesn't matter what else you attach to it. Alright, torso. Melee damage raised 10%, so you're going to take 10% more melee damage. Melee power gets boosted by 35%. That's a really good trade-off there. It's a 25% difference for that double-edged sword. And that's the first 59% that's not on a cutscene. It's literally just a one-button 59%. That's good shit. While close combat, melee power boost by 35%. Super easy to get close combat in this game. Barely even like an after. You roll the gacha to get a single suit or something from it, you'll have enough parts to make an entire suit of close combat, I swear. So, no problems here, Chief. So, you take 10% more melee damage, you have close combat, easy to do, you have a 70% melee power boost. That's meaty. Good stuff. High mobility, close combat tags? Sure. Arms. Shot damage raised 10%. You take 10% more shot damage. I figure I didn't have to explain it, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. Melee power boosts by 35%. Hey, cool beans, just don't get shot. And while high mobility, EX skill power boosted by 35%. High mobility, okay. Now, here's kind of where we run into kind of a monosuit issue, because if you do want to monosuit the Bale, you're going to want to have both high mobility as well as close combat. In a perfect world, you actually want to have Pro Tag and Mobile Fighter. Mobile Fighter and Pro Tag both give you a 10% boost to your melee stat, while high mobility and close combat only giving it 5%. So you're losing a 5% offensive buff for the EX skill power boost. Is it worth it? Honestly, it really depends on how many stats you lose. That's pretty much what it boils down to. So, yeah. Man, I must have been ravenous. Holy crap. Alright. In a vacuum, though, the part's pretty good. High mobility, force space tags again? Sure. Legs. Spirit of Agnica. Double S minus power, D pierce. Low cooldown. Is that how we're going to play this now, Bandai? Is this really how we're going to play this? I'm just sending a question really quick here to a very certain someone. Why, though? Okay, my question has been asked. Okay, overall, this, yeah, low cooldown, double S minus power, shit's gonna slap. Moving on. Hey, Mana, what's up? High mobility, close combat, workable tertiaries, good stuff. It's not so much the skill itself that has me going, why? It's the symbolism of it. We've gone from double S, or we went from having S minus cutscene skills to having S power non-cutscene skills, and now we're reaching into double S minus. Eventually, we're gonna get to double S plus magazine EX skills, for Christ's sake. It's like, there's gotta come a point where a line in the sand needs to be drawn. It's like, hey, we be power creeping, but we're gonna stop. Like, it's actually just getting ridiculous now. Absolutely flipping ridiculous. I said it at the beginning. I said it last week. I'll say it again. The gacha is turned into a rat race as of the Super Sokai. And frankly, I don't recommend participating in it. Just wait until something you really want comes out. Because if you go week to week going, oh, that looks really powerful, I'm going to roll on that, it's going to be cracked in no time. There's just no point. If you got to keep in your number one position in Arena, sure, go for it. But for the average player, man, just wait. There's no point. You don't need the power. I don't know why they keep doing this week after week. It's absolutely bonkers to me. But whatever. You know, that's actually a really good point. That might be why they still haven't done the Crossbone Torso rerun. They're planning to power creep it. What a world. Absolutely bonkers. Anyways. Alright. Let's check out the backpack. Electromagnetic Cannon, B plus Pierce, A minus Power, shit's gonna slap, low cooldown, cool beans. Alright, no real complaints on that. On paper, looks friggin' solid. Hey Alan, what's up, man? High Mobility Commander, alright. It does have the one of the best word tags for shot, adds to the value. And the swords. When attacking with physical, easy to do, all power boosted by 35%. And when squad has all attributes, initial squad charge plus 20%. Now, when it says initial squad charge, what charge? Are we talking job gauge? Are we talking initial EX? What does it mean by charge? That is so weird. I don't know what it means, because this is the first time we've seen this trait. At least I'm pretty sure it's the first time we've seen it. Oh, okay. First squad trait. Right, I forgot that they had those now. All these new systems are adding in. Alright. End of the day, though, that first trait alone is really, really good. Because you have to notice, when attacking with physical all power boost. It can be physical melee. It can be physical shot. It doesn't matter. You're getting an all power boost as long as it's physical. That's really clean. That is a really clean first trait. Second trait, okay. But that first trait, that's mint. It's a good trait. Okay. Cool stuff. So, the Bale, for all intents and purposes as a build suit, pretty good. Pretty good. But considering the amount you'll have to invest to get a single part, I don't think it's that good. Maybe the swords. If by cosmic coincidence you're able to get the swords, I'd say yeah. That first trait is pretty damn good. But really outside of that, the legs, yeah, they're big, they're scary, low cooldown, but you don't need it. Same with the backpack. Low cooldown, good modifiers. We don't need it. The headpiece with the 59% boost at press of a button. It's good. We don't need it. It's pretty much the Bale and most suits at this point in a nutshell. They're really cool. They're powerful. They're flashy. But we don't need it. Right? Maybe if there was still challenge in the PvE content. But all this power creep seems to be centered around the arena and getting people to participate more in the arena. But the overwhelming majority of the casuals just don't care enough. It's just another checkbox to tick for those dailies. So, I don't know. It just seems like an interesting endeavor. One that kind of, I don't know. It's just weird. Interesting, but weird. Anyways, let's take a look at our old welfares. This bowl of whatever this mush is, it's growing on me. Okay. We'll start with the Alveron. You're not the Alveron, you're the Alveron. Yeah, doggy. Alright. So, with twin rifle category equipped, EX skill power boosts by 25%. Solid trait. With power attribute, close shot attack raised by 20%. Not a solid trait. Oh. Close shot attack is referencing the distance between you and your enemy when you're doing a neutral attack. Your reticle will change based on your distance between you and your opponent, and different ranged weapon types have different optimal ranges to attack from. Rifle, like the large sniper rifles, those are best for long distance. Then you have beam rifles and bazookas, which are good for medium distance. And then you have things like the SMG, which is good for practically melee distance. What this is referring to is that practical melee distance range to get a 20% boost on your close shot attack damage only. It's not really worth it. Force space, high firepower tags. All right, cool beans. Yeah. I still don't like the 4-line tags, but it's there. Sure. And high firepower, useful tag. So, yeah. Traits 1, great. 2, no. Tags, eh. Take it as you will. Torso. When in arena sortie, shooting damage taken reduced by 20. Flat number. Long shooter job, shooting damage output boost by 35. No. Again, flat number. Why? Like, why? We're practically in the end game of GBM. Why are we getting flat number boost when everyone's doing, you know, tens of thousands of damage? That's just so... Alright, arms. With power attribute, special shot boosted by 25%. Special shot can only be activated by the mid shooter and long shooter job licenses. That's when you hold down the shot button for an extended period of time. You'll do a special attack. Beam rifles will lean back, do the Wing Gundam beam blast. Bazookas will charge a big shot, so on and so forth. It's not that great, frankly. When sortieing in space category, shooting power boost by 30%. Great shooting power boost by 30%. Love it. 10 out of 10. The activation trigger, though, I've already talked about it. It's Garbo. Legs. While for space, projectile speed boosts by 14%. I don't really think projectile speed's that useful. When beam resistance is over 5,000, EX skill piercing boosts by 28%. That's an interesting one. So EX skill piercing, it's currently represented by letters. We don't know what those letters actually mean. We just know the higher the letter is, the better it works. Nice. So when it says EX skill piercing boosts by 28%, who the hell knows what that means? Could be a letter grade, a whole letter grade, could be the difference between a neutral and a plus. Who the fuck knows? Really? We take guesses because we don't have a formula for this yet. With that in mind, that is only really good because the other trait is really bad. This is kind of the holy grail that we've seen so far, where it could be useful in a variety of situations where you have a very high power skill but no pierce on it. However, there's also a myriad other parts that offer this, as well as a better second trait, or first trait. So I hear that EX skill piercing is direct counter to power reduction on the enemy, but I'm uncertain. You know, the problem is we don't have a battle formula. Everything is just guesswork. And although I will admit that, you know, you can have very educated guesswork and typically end up being correct about it, without a formula, we're not exactly sure whether or not any of this is really, like, worth it. You know, is it worth taking a EX skill piercing 28%, or is it better getting another 80% EX skill power? What will yield more damage? Who the fuck knows? All right, even if you practice it, there's so many variants, there's so many variables that it's a crapshoot, an educated crapshoot, but a crapshoot nonetheless. All right, so claw arm, A minus pierce. All right, B plus power. All right, low cooldown. Sure beans. Yeah, this was kind of its like de facto, what's the word? Iconic EX skill. It's okay, you know, nothing to write home about, but not bad. You know, kind of a healthy in between. I do remember this EX skill actually helped me clear the situation the last time this event, or when this event suit was around. So I got good memories of the CX skill. I know that it's not amazing, but I like it. The boost is just cherry on top. Okay. Check out the swords. When melee defense is under 10,000, that is a dangerous game to play. Strong melee crit rate boosted by 17%. Already talked about crit rate, so we'll just wipe out that whole trait. When armor is 70% or less, enemy melee power reduced by 30%. So at least it's a high multiplier at 30%. This will only, that second trait will only affect the suit this is put onto. And you have to take damage for it to activate, which I don't think is very worth it. So, yeah, no, that's, it's gonna be a no for me, dog. Not happening. Okay. And lastly, our dual beam pew-pew things. And then we move on to the next welfare. Long shooter job. Job gauge increase boost by 13%. Alright. Long shooter, very easy to get. Job gauge increase boosted. I've already talked about the job gauge. I'll just move right along. Not a fan. When attacking with beam, very easy to do. Lots of beam options. Shooting crit rate boost by 30%. Could we not? Please. Long and short, the Alveron, Alva gone, man. Just forget about it. Forget about it. Alright, let's take a look at our Age 3 Fortress. Maybe this will fare better. I wouldn't hold my breath. With technique attribute, long shot attack raised by 20%. I've already talked about close shot attack. Here's the long range variant. No. While long range, shooting damage reduced by a flat number. Why? Torso. Long shooter job. Shooting power boosted by 25%. That's an amazing trait on a welfare. 10 out of 10 would bang. Arm parts EX skill power boosted by 30%. Still really good, even with the caveat of it having to be the arm part. Good. Not great, but good. Paired with that first trait, yee doggy. For a welfare, pretty kitted out. Let's check those arms. Let's check the guns. This is D Pierce, B plus power, medium cooldown, integrated part. Cool beans. B plus power does add a lot of oomph to it. The cooldown, you know, it's kind of beefy, but if I remember correctly, this also does have a relatively wide range, and it claps. So, acceptable losses. Good stuff. Legs. When shot attack is over 16,000, projectile speed boosts by 14%. I don't think projectile speed is that important unless you're using bazookas, and even then there's better stuff. When operated on auto, 33% chance not recoil. Oh wow, it's garbage! So that's one of the few EX skills then, the arms. This is one of the few B plus EX skills that hits like a noodle, eh? Yeah. Good to know. It's good for mooking, though. That's always nice. God, I hate mook waves. And our backpack. When 2 enemies shot down, vernier consumption equals 0 for 10 seconds. Personally, no. For people that really like spamming their verniers, probably good as long as there's 2 enemies. Otherwise, not that good because you can't use it. When armor is 60% or more, enemy special shot power reduced by 30%. Wah. No thanks. Hard pass. Feels like those noodles are fighting back. Okay. Good stuff. Cool. And lastly, the savior. Time to see if it was saved. Middle shooter job. Shooting damage taken reduced by 20. No. While transformer. Initial EX skill charge boosted by 20. Okay. I put that kind of a... Not a... Yeah. Not a... Meh. Kind of in the middle. Yeah. Torso. When armor is 60% or more, EX skill cooldown reduced by 15%. Ayo, that's great. When speed attribute, shooting crit rate boost by 30%. But that first trait is pretty clean. Alright, double saber shear. Nope, that's an immediate no for me, dog. I'm just gonna 360, walk right back out. While transformer, close shot attack raised by 14%. No. Back parts EX skill power boost by 30%. It's not great. Not bad. Really in the middle. Depends on your build. You got a good back EX skill? Yeah. Alright, backpack. What are we rocking? The M Fortis Plasma Beam Cannon. A plus Pierce. B power. Yeah. Okay. It does have a medium length cooldown, but on paper, it looks pretty good. That's kind of the thing, right? On paper. They really do need to add like a in-part viewer for the EX skill. Vajra Beam Saber. When 2 enemies shot down, enemy melee power reduced by 25%. Okay. No. When physical resistance is over 5,000, melee damage output boosts by 35%. First trait only works on the suit this is put onto. The second one's a flat number boost. Come on, I thought we were beyond this point. Beam rifle, what are we working with? Beam ranged weapon magazine boost by 20%. I don't think that's really useful whatsoever. You're pretty much getting like one more shot in the tank, which... whoop-de-doo. With speed attribute, shooting crit rate boost by 30%. No. Alright, no. And lastly, our aerodynamic shield. With rifle category, equipped special shot, crit rate boosted by 17%. No! With speed attribute, shooting damage output boost by 35. Why? No! Okay. Well, that's kind of, like, wow. Like, out of all three of them, I think the Fortress got the best. Is what it is. Is what it is. Anyways, with that, gang, I guess I'm going to wrap up. There's really nothing else to talk about. We've gone over all the new stuff, the new pilots, the new characters. I don't know if I would say it was a bunch of letdowns, because there were some good parts scattered in there, kind of here and there. But I think overall, it's kind of just like, okay. 3. Oh, they finally released the update news for 3.3. Ah, so they did. Magical. All right, let's take a look at this, gang. Wow, 3.3 update coming soon? No way. Okay, hold on. I've got sleep in my eye. I need to get rid of that so I can actually focus on this picture I'm seeing. Okay. Let's try that again. What are we looking at? So, we got what looks like a... okay. Oh yeah, okay. So that's all the new suits and stuff. Cool. Custom made weekly missions. Okay, so it's pretty much just complete these missions that are created and you get creation points. Not really anything. Yeah. So it's just missions where you have designated parts. There's really nothing new about that one. It's cool. It's a nice little extension to what was already there. It's nothing really amazingly new. Hey, Suki, what's up, man? Yeah. Okay. So it's just they're adding more ways to get creation points for part 1 of that. All right. Attribute gears. You know, now be a blah, 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 blah. So these ones are going to be locked onto the actual attributes. And it seems to be rock, paper, scissors. The tiny little image that's here. Let me just open it real quick. As you can see, you know, power versus technique, technique versus speed, technique versus speed, or speed versus power. So you're going to have to craft a lot of these for all your different potential setups for min-maxing. Yeah, you got rarities. Very interesting. So you can get a 25% damage bonus from this, or a flat 2,000 boost at the absolute peak. Honestly, 15-20% is really nothing to sneeze at. That's actually relatively significant, so that's pretty good. Right? Okay. New story mission. Cool. New free missions. Aight. Change parts. Okay, so they're just adding an extra filter for EX skill and trait level. Cool. Ah. So they're finally adding a button so that we only see things we can craft now. That'll save a lot of time. Jesus. Okay. And then more things for things you can alter and whatnot. Cool. More filters. That's good. Ah, nice. Now there's actually an exclamation icon for any uncompleted daily missions. And the DRAC is added to Blueprints and Capital Shop. Cool. Another new one-star cosmetic suit. And another player cap level. Or level cap. There we go. That's the order of words. New Gunpla, AI pilots, events. Yeah, okay, cool. And we get our campaign. Login bonus, custom made missions, attribute gears, support missions. Cool. And we still have our 2.5 anniversary campaigns running, which is nice. Cool. So it's not really anything terribly like jaw-droppingly amazing, but it's very interesting. And I am actually quite happy to see that these new gears are actually very flexible. It gives you lots of options, and it does give you a very high multiplier if you happen to fight against something that you're weak against, right? Like speed versus technique, right? You get a 25% boost to technique attribute Gunpla, which is a solid boost, but do remember, obviously, you're at a huge disadvantage to begin with, right? You get your melee attack parameters up, all sorts of little bonuses there. So, pretty cool. All things considered, this, I think, is quite nice. Yeah. The trade-offs really boil down to, so, you can actually see it, for example, on the speed versus power and speed versus right technique. So if you're against, if you craft like the speed versus power, where you normally are at an advantage, you do 20% bonus to power attribute, you do 15% to speed, you get some melee attack bonus. But if you fight on the uphill, speed versus technique, you get a 25% bonus to technique instead of the 20. The 15% stays the same. And then you still get the 2,000 bonus. So it's a trade-off of approximately 5% to fight something way stronger than you are. So, yeah. The final damage multiplier, knowing this game, it'll probably be that. Anyways, yeah. So I think that's it then. When is this maintenance? Oh, they still don't have time for the maintenance. It's probably going to be next week, or if not that, week after. Oh, there's some bug fixes in there. Cool. Anyways, with that, gang, I believe that's everything. We looked at the update notice. We looked at the new welfare stuff. We looked at the event shop. We looked at Gacha. We looked at Twitter. We looked at alterations. I think we's done here, gang. So, with that, as always, thanks for coming in, hanging out, tuning in, all that fun stuff. And as I mentioned earlier in the stream, I am doing daily evening Eastern Standard Time streams going forward. They're starting now. They used to start at 6 o'clock and run for a few hours, but I've pushed it up to start at 9 p.m. to kind of open that time zone window a little bit for people that live on the far side of the planet. So with that in mind, if you feel like just hanging out, tuning in, watch me play some games and chat, feel free to hop in, say hi. Yeah. Anyways, peace out, guys, and see you in the next one.